We're back on the Spin Room. Thanks for sticking around. Let's fly over the pond to Times Square, where we'll wrap up the show with some analysis on Syria, Facebook, and the NBA with the one and only I-24 News anchor, Tal Heinrich. Tal, it is great to see you. How you doing?
Great to be on the program, Ami.
Well, before we go to all those topics, I want to talk a little, very quickly. Paul Ryan just announced he won't run for re-election. Talk about political earthquake, huh?
Right, and he has a pretty good reason that he presented. He said at a press conference that his decision has nothing to do with the fact that the Democrats might win the majority in the midterms. He said that he just wants to be with his family. His children are getting older, becoming teenagers. He had lost his own father when he was just 16 years old. And Paul Ryan just doesn't want to regret losing this time with his family. He's been in politics for over 20 years, so he is going home now. And President Trump also tweeted this morning on Paul Ryan, saying that he's a truly good man. He will leave a legacy of achievement that nobody can question. Paul Ryan also said talked about the president and saying that he's grateful to the president for putting the country back on the right track.
I think it's only temporary. I think he's positioning himself to make a comeback, but that's just me. But let's move on to Syria, Tal. Donald Trump has started to threaten Syria and even Russia in his tweets this morning. What's the word on the street over there on your side of the pond that you're hearing? Is there public support for an attack on the Assad regime?
Well, it seems so. You talk about the Twitter rhetoric retching up this morning, but also I was covering the events at the United Nations yesterday all day long. And over there, we also heard very harsh rhetoric between the two sides, the U.S. and U.S.'s allies and Russia on the other side. Both countries, the U.S. and Russia, blocked each other's resolutions yesterday, calling to investigate the events in Douma over the weekend, the chemical attack suspected by the Assad regime. And the U.K. ambassador said that Russia's credibility is now in question. But I want to ask, Ami, what's the credibility of the Security Council? What's the responsibility of the Security Council if it can just not come to a resolution and speak in one voice on such an incident that just begs and screams for justice and inspections? So that is also the question that was asked by a person that I talked to outside the United Nations building yesterday. He's a Syrian-American businessman. His name is Fouad Zaytoun, and he came there yesterday wearing the banner of the Syrian opposition. He wanted to talk to passersby and also to the media. He paid a personal price, he and his family, in the Syrian civil war, and he wanted to share his thoughts on that day. Take a listen.
Okay.
I come today with hope and dream to see a different administration in the United Nations. United Nations is a joke, it's a mockery. They're not doing anything. But I believe Mr. Donald Trump tonight will act and do the right thing for the Syrian children and the Syrian people who are victims.
I think he's going to get his wish, and it might be even tonight. I think Donald Trump is going to attack. I want to move on to Facebook. I want to hear your take on Mark Zuckerberg's testimony in Congress. He's actually doing a second day in Congress today, because on my Facebook feed, Tal, it's all about how the old folks in the Senate don't really understand technology, do they? It was kind of embarrassing at times.
Well, I think that's a takeaway that many people are going to take from the first day of the hearing. We will see what will come up today with the questions that he will have to face. But I want to tell to you and our audience that I think that Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg are just doing a fantastic PR drill, and governments around the world should really take a listen, write down, and learn from this PR lesson, because it's not only how Zuckerberg handled the first day of hearing itself, hours-long grilling by Congress committees. It's also about the fact that up until the hearing itself, Zuckerberg and Facebook did everything possible to set an apologetic tone and show that they're really taking this crisis seriously and implementing some new measures to prove that it's not going to happen again. Now, I want to address some of the questions that came up in the first day of hearing, especially a question by Senator Lindsey Graham. He asked Mark Zuckerberg, who's Facebook's biggest competitor? And Zuckerberg could not name one. Well, I guess Lindsey Graham was trying to make a point that Facebook is too big, but in the private sector, Ami, some monopolies are monopolies because we, the people, granted them this power, and we want them to be such. Amazon, Google, and Microsoft, and so is Facebook. So sometimes it is okay to be a monopoly.
Okay, and in the last 30 seconds we have left, Omri Caspi let go by the Golden State Warriors. I mean, tell me, why is this such a big story here in Israel? Is it a big story also in the States?
Well, not so much, because it came after weeks of speculations and it was very much expected. Omri Caspi probably knew this one was coming because he is injured. Steph Curry is injured, and the team Golden State, right before the playoffs, they need a point guard. Omri Caspi is not a point guard. This is why they need Quinn Cook to be on the roster, and Quinn Cook is filling in for Steph Curry. So as much as it hurts under the circumstances, Coach Steve Kerr couldn't do anything but letting Caspi go. He's the only one who's injured and is the only one with no contract for next year. And well, this was supposed to be a reward for Caspi after 8 years in the NBA, finally maybe winning a championship title, but that's sad. It's not going to happen.
Very sad story. Very sad story. Tal Heinrich, thank you very much. Great seeing you. That's it. I hope you enjoyed watching. Thanks for taking a ride with us on the Spin Room. Hope you hop on again tomorrow. 6 p.m. Tel Aviv, 8 p.m. New York. In the meantime, hang in there.